Good morning.
Good morning.
Reverend Julie said, I think it's only going to be you and RJ in the sanctuary, and I am pleased to announce that she was wrong.
Yay!
It is important that you showed up this morning. Gathering in community is an act of solidarity in times of isolation and hopelessness. Here together in our collective church community, may we take a moment to breathe together as we settle into this space. Please join in singing our opening hymn, number 116, I'm on my way.
I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I asked my sister, come and go with me. I asked my sister, come and go with me. I asked my sister, come and go with me. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I asked my brother, come and go with me. I asked my brother, come and go with me. I asked my brother, come and go with me. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
One of the nice things about being a worship leader is you get to hear all the sound coming towards you. You made a joyful noise already this morning. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that is spiritually alive, values-centered, and radically inclusive. We begin each service by kindling a flaming chalice. Those who came before us lit this flame as a beacon of welcome to those in need of a place of sanctuary and belonging. We strive to continue that legacy today. We kindle this flame with words from Heidi Cotton. Let us be a faith that gathers, reaching for one another through the walls of hate that others build, through the cages of ignorance and arrogance, and through the fear that burns city streets. Let us be a faith that sees a vision of a better world, more compassionate, more just, more holy, and with more love. There is a faith that binds up the broken, cauterizes battle wounds with the balm of peace, sings louder and longer than the trumpets of war. Let us be that faith too. Let us be the ones who do not tread lightly in this world, but light it up with our love, who hold up the mirror of worth and dignity, who are the sanctuary others seek. But first, let us be a faith that worships together, here, this morning, in this space, at this moment. Let us be of faith. You can find ways our community works for love and justice on the back of your order of service, but I have a few highlights for you. Northwest's congregational meeting will take place after the service on June 14th. As always, a Zoom option will be available. If you're planning on marching in the Motor City Pride Parade with us, which is, what's the date?
June 7th.
June 7th. You can grab a seat on the Pride bus to and from the parade after service. A link to register can be found in your weekly newsletter. And you know, it's finally time to spend more time outdoors. So Saturday, June 6th, we have an opportunity for you to participate in our outdoor cleanup. Arrive at 9:30 and plan on enjoying making the church grounds look better and spending time with your fellow congregants. More details can be found in the back of your order of service.
Thank you, Diana. That's good stuff to know, but the most important thing to know is that no matter who you are,
what you believe or who you love,
where you're from or what identities you hold,
with all of your joy and gifts,
and with all of your pain and history,
you are welcome and wanted here.
Come, let us worship together. Let us enter into a time of respite outside the demands of daily life. I invite you to center yourself and sink into spirit with the power of music. We will come out singing.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all these beautiful faces on this Memorial Day weekend. I was wondering if any of the children have joys or sorrows this morning. Thank you guys for sharing. Do you guys want to sit right here for the story? You can move those books if you want. This book is called Talk and Work It Out, and RJ picked it for this service. And it's by Sherry J. Miners. I'm learning to get along with lots of people. Sometimes I don't agree with a person. It's okay to have different ideas. But if something really bothers me, I can choose to work things out. I can stop and take a breath to calm myself. I can take time to think about what to do. I may want to talk about the problem. I can look at the person and speak up when I tell how I feel. I can look at the person and speak up when I tell how I feel. I can listen and think about how the other person feels. I learn more about the problem when I listen to another view. I can say back what I hear. This shows that I understand and care. As we talk about the problem, I can be polite and friendly. It feels good to be heard and to understand things better. I can use my imagination to help solve the problem. I can think of lots of ideas. And I can ask the person to help find an answer. If I still need help, I can ask a grown-up. I can think about an idea. What might happen? Will we both be happy? I can help choose a plan that's good for both of us. I can cooperate to make things work. I might share or take turns or do something nice. Let's go play. And sometimes it's hard to find an answer everyone likes. I can still show respect. I'm learning to solve my problems peacefully. Getting along can be more important than getting everything you want or I want. If I care about someone else's ideas and feelings as much as my own, we can usually find a way to work things out. And that's the story for today. Thank you. Would anybody like to carry the flame? Yes, Vivian?
I'm listening to it right now through my
Wanna light it
phone.
from her? Thank you. Would you please rise if you're able and join us for singing the children out to their classes?
Morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
shared plate this month, we are collecting money for the launch of our Social Justice Council. The council is composed of liaisons who will work with local values-aligned organizations who report back to us about how we amplify the mission of these organizations. And this morning, Beata Lemparski will be talking about the organization that we call Moosjin.
Hello. All right. Well, you heard I am Beata Lemparski. I'm a member of Northwest. And for the last year, I have also been a member of the Michigan Unitarian Universalist Social Justice Network. So this is a mouthful, and Diana gave the punchline away. So please refer to us as Moosjin, and I have a graphic to share with you. Moosjin, okay? Moosjin. That's how you remember us. Thank you, Abby. Moosjin is a statewide organization of UU congregations, other faith communities, and partners, and we work for social justice. Northwest and First UU Detroit are church members of this network, as well as a number of you individually are part of Moosjin. I'd like to give you some examples of our current work, and that includes fighting for the rights and due process for immigrants, their families, and ICE detainees who come from Oakland County. At least that's where we're focused. We make public comments on Oakland County Commission meetings. We participate in protests in Romulus and in Southfield against ICE facilities. And we most recently became the fiscal sponsor for a grassroots organization called CAFE, which is Community Aid for Empowerment. And they really serve very closely immigrants in Oakland County. And many of you have been trained by them to be observers and do other work for them. Over the years, we have advocated for a number of public policy changes. In case you're not aware, we send out action alerts where people can outlining steps for people to take action and communicate their concerns to elected representatives on both the state and the federal level. Just recently, we participated in the annual Capitol Days. UUs from 4 congregations, and I know I saw a posting on First UU Detroit's website, who participated in last week's LGBTQ plus Capitol Day. Apparently there were 400 people, and it was really well attended, and people benefited from talking to their local representatives about this issue. We started up a Calling and Connections, a monthly meetup on Zoom to learn about an issue and to complete an actual action during the meeting. The next meetup is this Wednesday, and all are welcome at 7 p.m., and we will be over by 7:45, or God will smite us. And most recently, we endorsed an action of immediate witness. It's one of the items that's being presented at the General Assembly in June. And this action, where it calls to protect public lands like waterways, coastlines, monuments, forests, and national parks, which are under assault by the federal government. And we hope anyone who is officially attending GA this year and can vote will support this action as well. For years, Moosjin has championed election protection. We train poll challengers to attend primary and general elections and look to see whether or not people are being turned away because the locals are not following the election laws. We educate and we encourage yes or no votes on ballot initiatives like the Reproduction for All in 2022. If you didn't know, Moose Gen was started 23 years ago by Randy Block, a longtime member of Northwest. He just stepped down as executive director in 2024, and now we are being led by Mary Jo Ebert. So Moose Gen is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and we are a statewide network of individual UUs, 25 congregations and fellowships, and allies, and we work to create a more just and caring world. And I hope you will join us. If you want to sign up to be on our mailing list, please see me. I think I'll be in the office helping Barbara and Dan, or check out our website, uujustice.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Beata. Together, our generosity multiplies. All undesignated donations will be split between the Social Justice Council and our congregation. A link to give virtually is posted in the Zoom chat. No matter what you contribute to the church, whether it is financial support or time or simply the generous presence of your spirit, know that we are so grateful for your gifts. Let us step into gratitude together. Please read aloud the words of dedication which are written on your order, in your order of service. To the work of creating beloved community within and beyond these walls, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
As beloved community, we are called to witness one another in grief and in joy. Let us now acknowledge what it means to be human together. May we start with bearing witness to the genocide and forced removal of the traditional stewards of this land, the Anishinaabeg in all their names. May we bear witness to the enslavement of the people of African descent who built our country's infrastructure and economy with no reparations to date. These atrocities, tears in the fabric of our human connection, continue to separate that which longs to be made whole. May we celebrate the weavers who seek to repair the fabric of our interdependent web. May we bear witness to those who sought justice, found beauty, and remained faithful. To them we sing. Here are joys and
let their wisdom carve deep in our beings. Bring the lessons and pains of our past. Witness all of our souls crying
and singing. Today we lift up the names Mansour Kaziha, Nadir Awad, and Amin Abdullah, 3 men who put themselves between gunmen and children at the Islamic Center of San Diego. Their bravery and love of humanity cost them their lives. We mourn them, we mourn the violence, and we pray no more martyrs, no more saints. The toll of war continues to rise. Over 3,000 people have been killed in Lebanon, 850 of those deaths during the so-called ceasefire. May war end forever. May all warmongering nations lay down our weapons forever and spend the rest of our existence atoning for what we have done. And amidst it all, there's still hope. We celebrate the Broadview 6, railroaded by Trump's DOJ for exercising their First Amendment rights. Their case has officially been dismissed with prejudice. Bless their tireless work to bring awareness to the rights and the tortures of immigrants in our country and the wisdom of their defenders, and Judge April Perry for standing up to this bully administration. Let us always look for those who refuse to fold. We sing.
Here are joys and our sorrows unmasked. Let their wisdom carve deep in our beings. Bring the lessons and pains of our past. Witness all of our souls crying and singing.
It is essential that we continue to witness each other in our joys and our sorrows. If you have anything that you would like to share, please raise your hand or please put it in the Zoom chat. For these and the joys and the sorrows that we hold in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, let us sing one last time. Here are joys and our sorrows unmasked. Let their wisdom carve deep in our beings. Bring the lessons and pains of our past. Witness all of our souls crying and singing. May we take a few moments of silence to be together in this sacred space.
Our reading this morning is attributed to Lao Tzu. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace between neighbors, if there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. I'm going to ask Alex to lead us through our next hymn, number 1025. It is new to us, but maybe it won't stay that way.
It's new and around. Can you believe it? We get double the luck. It's a very simple round. Huh? Well, it's fine. It's easy enough. So 1025 is the song number. We're not going to sing the Latin, don't worry. I appreciate you giving us the Latin, though. Thank you. We'll just sing it in English. The thing that makes it a little tricky is that there's two different melody lines. So we're going to start with the first one, and then I'm going to go over the second one. So here's the main melody. When will the fighting cease? When will we live in peace? When our love breaks boundaries? When will the... And so that's the first melody. Nice and simple. All right. The second melody is lower than that. When will the fighting cease? When will we live in peace? When our love breaks boundaries? When will the fighting cease? And you'll see that the second melody starts after the first. So it'll be when. So yeah, that's how it goes. Sing whichever one you want. There's two melodies. You'll hear them both as I play, and it'll sound beautiful. I have no doubt in my mind.
That was a noble attempt.
Not bad for a Memorial Day weekend.
We will do more. And now it is my pleasure to invite RJ up. Ooh, my goodness. Someone else needs to do the talking, RJ.
Good morning. It's great to see you all. And I think we have a lot of people here from First Church. Well, it's great to see you all, too. I don't know how many of you all were there when I spoke there, but it was a great time. Somebody's in the back waving enthusiastically. I want to thank you all for your presence here and thank Pastor Julie and Pastor Eli and Diana and Alex for such a wonderful invitation and for a wonderful service. Always enjoy the music. The songs are very thoughtful. And Diana, I really appreciate how you put this service together. Yeah, you can clap for her. All right. You saw the title, I think, in the bulletin. It said, Ye that are spiritual, the... Can I have that water? Thanks. The full title is Ye Which Are Spiritual in Perilous Times. I come from the Christian faith tradition, even though I'm not a traditional Christian, if you will, by a long shot. But that is my grounding, spiritually speaking. And so the text that we're going to speak from today actually comes from the New Testament. It's Galatians 6:1, which says, "Beloved, if a person is overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted." So I'm going to ask you to repeat that after me, all right? Beloved, if a person be overtaken in a fault, is it possible for me to get just a little bit of the mid out of the mic? Maybe a little more treble. If a person be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Isn't that a beautiful passage? There are moments in history when the true test of spirituality is not how frequently or fervently people worship, but whether they can remain morally sane while the world around them is losing its mind. I have been thinking about that a great deal lately, especially as Memorial Day approaches. A few days ago, I found myself walking through Holy Sepulchre Cemetery, not far from here. Actually, one of my favorite places to go. Somebody said, "How is that?" Anybody curious? Yeah. My wife and I, we do a lot of bird photography. So if you go to rjswildlife.com, you'll see the kind of pictures I take. It was quiet there in the cemetery, in the way old cemeteries often are. Not empty, of course, but quiet. The kind of quiet that makes a person aware of their own breathing. Small American flags have been placed beside military graves ahead of the holiday. Some markers were new enough to read clearly. Others had weathered so badly that time itself seemed to be slowly reclaiming the names. And standing there among those graves, I found myself troubled and vexed, not by the dead, but by the living. Because cemeteries do not remind us only of the people who died. They also remind us of what happens when the living fail to govern hatred before hatred governs them. Alas, unfortunately, we now live in a time when people speak about civil war with the kind of emotional carelessness that ought to trouble any morally serious person. Not merely conflict as a metaphor, not merely disagreement as the ordinary burden of democratic life, but language that begins to imagine fellow citizens as people with whom no future or shared future is possible. We hear it more often now than decent people should be comfortable admitting. Increasingly, people are not only described as mistaken, but they are also described as dangerous, illegitimate, irredeemable, and fundamentally incompatible with the future of society itself. Scholars may have reason to caution us that America is not on the verge of civil war just yet. But spiritual people should not wait until armies organize before they become alarmed. Long before civil war becomes a battlefield, it becomes a habit of mind. It begins when neighbors become enemies, when opponents become threats, and when the very possibility of peaceful coexistence itself begins to sound like surrender. So as I have listened to the growing calls for political violence in recent years, I have kept returning to one uncomfortable question. What does it mean to be spiritual in an age intoxicated with outrage? What does it mean to be spiritual in an age intoxicated with outrage? Not spiritual in name only, not merely opinionated, not merely politically engaged, but spiritual in the deeper sense of being governed by truth, humility, restraint, and love. By spiritual, I do not mean people who know religious language. I do not mean people who attend religious ceremonies. I do not mean people who can prove their religious affiliation. Rather, I mean those who claim to live under a higher moral summons: truth, justice, mercy, peace, conscience, human dignity, and the sacred worth of persons. Spiritual, because anybody can become angry. Anybody can become tribal. Anybody can mirror the spirit of the age. But as Paul says, ye which are spiritual are called to something more difficult and demanding. Can I get an amen? The verse in Galatians has stayed with me because the Apostle Paul does something there that modern people often fail to do. He connects spirituality not to emotional intensity, not to virtue signaling, not to public performance, not to ideological purity, but he connects spirituality to the difficult work of restoration carried out in humility. Again, he says, ye which are what? Spiritual. Restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering yourself, lest thou also be tempted. Notice the burden placed upon spiritual people there. Not to destroy, not to humiliate, not to crush, but to restore to restore carefully, to restore humbly, to restore while remaining conscious of your own vulnerability to moral failure. By the way, the word meekness there does not mean weakness. Meekness does not mean weakness. Instead, it refers to the kind of discipline and dogged strength that refuses to become morally disfigured by hatred, even while confronting evil honestly. That is the burden resting upon spiritually serious people in every age. And I believe it is the burden resting on us now. Can you say, ye which are spiritual? Ye which are spiritual. One of the great temptations in periods of social tension is to imagine that righteousness permits us to abandon restraint. To imagine that righteousness permits us to abandon restraint. Once people become convinced they are fighting darkness, they began believing almost any emotional posture toward opponents is justified. Contempt begins feeling righteous. Humiliation begins feeling necessary. Hatred begins masquerading as courage. Of course, the most dangerous thing about hatred, the most dangerous hatred is not hatred that knows it's wrong, that knows it's sinful. That's not the most dangerous hatred. The most dangerous hatred is hatred that begins to feel holy. That is the danger. Not merely that the world becomes hateful, but that those who claim to be moral begin treating hatred as righteousness. Once that happens, the language of morality no longer restrains us, but gives our worst impulses permission to speak with a holy accent. If no one else, spiritually serious people must understand something the wider culture often forgets. You can oppose darkness long enough and wrong enough that eventually darkness begins shaping you. Did you hear me? You can oppose darkness long enough and wrong enough that that very darkness begins reshaping you. That is why the verse says, considering who? Thyself. In other words, even while confronting wrongdoing, those who claim moral maturity, spiritual maturity, must remain watchful of their own souls. The struggle was never against the hatred outside of us alone. The greatest struggle is against the hatred waiting patiently within us for permission to grow. If those who claim spiritual maturity cannot bear that burden, then spirituality has become decoration rather than discipline. Can you say, ye that are spiritual? Ye that are spiritual. Needless to say, that is extraordinarily difficult work, isn't it? One of my favorite songs that we've always sung in the black church, nobody told me that the road would be easy. Y'all hear me? That is extraordinarily difficult work, especially now, because modern life increasingly rewards moral distortion. Outrage is rewarded. Contempt is rewarded. Humiliation is rewarded. Social media amplifies outrage because outrage captures attention. Politics monetizes outrage because outrage energizes tribes. Entire systems now profit financially and politically from keeping human beings angry with one another continuously. And the longer people live inside that atmosphere, the harder it becomes to remain spiritually healthy. Listen to me, humans cannot marinate constantly in fear, disgust, tribal hostility, and resentment without becoming malformed by it. Can I get an amen? And that concerns me deeply because what we are witnessing now is not merely political disagreement. Democracies have always argued. Societies have always struggled. Human beings have always differed over law, morality, economics, power, and culture. Freedom itself necessarily entails that kind of disagreement. The greatest danger, therefore, emerges when disagreement hardens into dehumanization. When opponents stop appearing as neighbors and fellow citizens and began appearing only as enemies. When people lose the moral ability to imagine continuing to share a society with one another. That is when civilization becomes perilously fragile. And that is when ye, which are spiritual, must understand that once societies reach that condition, catastrophe becomes easier than most people might imagine. Can you say, ye that are spiritual? Of course, civil war does not require entire people, an entire people eager for bloodshed. Indeed, most Americans before the Civil War did not long for rivers of blood. Most feared war. Most hoped that compromise would still hold. But enough people eventually became willing to treat opponents as incompatible with the nation itself. Enough people became willing to speak as though peace were cowardice and coexistence impossible, and enough others gradually became willing to excuse the spirit that made violence thinkable. Fear deepened. Trust deepened. Tribal certainty deepened. Yet we must not sentimentalize the Civil War or pretend its causes were morally symmetrical. We know they wasn't. Slavery stood at the center of the national rupture. But listen to me, but even when one side or one's side's cause is morally worthy, even when you have a morally worthy cause, societies still become catastrophically fragile when human beings surrender the moral ability to imagine any future except domination, separation, and destruction. And then came the funerals. We speak about the Civil War now with too much emotional distance, too much mythology, too much abstraction. In fact, we talk about war like that. But the people who marched to Antietam and Gettysburg were not symbols in textbooks. No, not symbols in textbooks. They were laborers, teachers, farmers, ministers, merchants, human beings who believed they were living inside a stable civilization. And then they became graves. That is one reason Memorial Day matters so profoundly. Cemeteries interrupt illusions. Cemeteries interrupt illusions. They remind us that political hatred eventually becomes physical suffering somewhere. The dead are not abstractions. Political hatred eventually places bodies in the ground. Social and political collapse is never cinematic for long. It becomes burial. It becomes trauma. It becomes generational sorrow. Nowadays, far too many people romanticize such conflict because they have become emotionally distant from suffering. The Civil War is not purification. It is not catharsis. It is not adventure. It is grieving loved ones standing over graves. It is families carrying trauma they never asked for. It is communities inheriting wounds that survive generations. Can you say, ye that are spiritual? Ye that are spiritual. Now, I would be remiss if I did not emphasize the dire need for this sobering realization as well. In our age of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons, human beings now possess powers of destruction that earlier generations and civilizations could scarcely imagine. Previous generations could destroy villages and cities and kingdoms. Ours possess the power to destroy civilization itself. This changes the moral stakes of hatred profoundly. Changes the moral stakes of hatred profoundly, which means the burden upon people of conscience is greater than ever before in human history. Because if human beings do not learn restraint, humility, coexistence, and disciplined love at a higher level than previous generations achieved, our technological power may eventually eliminate the need for constructive conflict resolution altogether. Are y'all hearing me? Yes. That is why ye which are spiritual cannot afford to become emotionally intoxicated by the spirit of the age. We cannot afford to let tribalism replace wisdom. We cannot afford to let outrage replace discernment. We cannot afford to mirror the hatred we condemn. Indeed, it is more urgent than ever that those who claim to be spiritual heed the call not merely to believe differently from the world, but to embody a different way of being human inside the world. That is the real challenge before us. How do we pursue truth without becoming cruel? How do we pursue justice without becoming consumed by vengeance? How do we resist evil without becoming spiritually distorted by the very darkness we oppose? Those are no longer theoretical questions. Now they are civilizational questions. Not only Memorial Day, but every day quietly places those questions before all who claim to be spiritual, not merely to honor the dead, but to warn the living, to remind us that societies do not collapse only because evil exists. They collapse because too few people possess the moral courage to resist evil without becoming consumed by evil themselves. Can you say, ye which are spiritual? Ye which are spiritual. Our civilization, American civilization too, will ultimately survive not through military strength, but through the moral disciplines capable of restraining hatred before hatred becomes utter destruction. And so in times like this, ye which are spiritual must become guardians of moral sanity. Can you say that after me? I must be a guardian of moral sanity. We must become practitioners of disciplined love, not sentimental love, not naive love, disciplined love, love that tells the truth, love that confronts justice, love that resists evil seriously, but love that still refuses to surrender the humanity of other people in the process. Restoration is not appeasement. Restoration is not pretending evil is harmless. Restoration is not asking the wounded to call their injury imaginary. Restoration is not asking truth to bow before comfort. Restoration is the holy refusal to let evil have the final word over either the wrongdoer or the one confronting him. Indeed, this is how ye which are spiritual become the change that you long to see in the world. Not merely through slogans, not merely through political victory, but through the daily discipline of embodying another possibility for human life itself. A calmer spirit in the age of rage, a reconciling spirit in the age of fracture, a truthful spirit in the age of propaganda, a merciful spirit in the age intoxicated with humiliation, a courageous spirit willing to oppose wrongdoing without surrendering to hatred. Because every act of restraint matters. Every refusal to dehumanize matters. Every effort to restore rather than destroy matters. Every moment in which a spiritual person chooses wisdom over tribal fury pushes back, however quietly, against the forces trying to drag human civilization towards madness and mutually assured destruction. If no one else, ye which are spiritual must choose not to become monsters in response to the monsters you oppose. Let us be found among those, therefore, who still know how to restore. Let us be found among those who can tell the truth without cruelty, can seek justice without vengeance, resist evil without hatred, and love without surrendering discernment. Let us be found among those who, when the world loses its moral sanity, still remember that it is absolutely critical that we maintain ours. For if we who are spiritual cannot practice restraint in an age intoxicated with outrage, then who will? If we who are spiritual cannot tell the truth without hatred, then who will? If we who are spiritual cannot resist evil without becoming consumed by a spirit of destruction ourselves, then who will? If ye which are spiritual cannot practice disciplined love before hatred finishes writing history in the language of tombstone inscriptions, then what hope is there for any of us? Thank you for listening. Thank you for loving. Thank you for letting your light so shine that others can see your good works, your healing works, your redemptive works, and perhaps be uplifted, inspired by such a luminous example in times as dark and uncertain as these. Can you say, ye which are spiritual? Ye which are spiritual.
not going to claim that I knew exactly what RJ was going to say, but I knew intuitively how it was going to hit me. And it left me feeling that I have been less than who I could be. Does anybody else feel that way? And so that's why we're singing the hymn number 1037, because RJ didn't mean to shame us. He meant to exhort us to be better. And you only have to sing one line this time. I will speak and you will respond. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time our greed has blinded us to the needs of others.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For the selfishness that sets us apart and alone.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For losing sight of our unity.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For those and so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
I invite you all to rise, embody your spirit, and turn towards one another and appreciate all who joined together to build this beloved community today. I invite you to reach out to one another and hold hands, or you may place your hands over your heart in a reverent gesture. In any case, look each other, see who is here, and let us sing together.
We are whole.
We are holy. We are holy.
One another. We are whole.
We are holy. We are holy.
One another.
Please repeat after me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
The warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment.
Nor the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We are whole. We are holy. We are holy. One
Thank you, RJ, for your wisdom today. That was amazing. May everyone stay safe this holiday weekend in all your wanderings, and we will end today with words from Emily Richards. May you leave this time together changed. May the promises you have made to yourself about who you want to be feel closer to the reality of who you are right now. May you share that feeling of transformation wherever you go. May it spread into every word, deed, thought, and interaction until we are all changed, transformed, and transforming together, becoming our better selves. Amen. May it be so.
We are holy. We are holy. We are holy. We are holy. We are holy.
Please join us for coffee and conversation in the multipurpose room.